Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. If you've ever wondered how the tradition of the Tooth Fairy started, you won't wonder at all when I'm finished reading you this book. It's a delightful book about adventure and bravery and how curiosity is a very good thing. In a land far, far away was a secret world known as Tulip Hollow, where the young fairies played and flew around and had the best time. All except one. Bella was a young fairy who was not allowed to venture outside without her parents. She had to watch everyone having fun from her room in the castle. To make matters worse, she was stuck in the castle with her younger brother Gage. He was always pestering her. Bella looked outside and sighed. Her daddy walked into the room and said, "What's wrong, Bella?" She goes, "I want to go out and play. Why can't I play outside with the other fairies, Dad?" Her dad paused to think and said, "Okay, Bella, I suppose you and your little friend Darcy can fly together to your other friend's birthday party on Saturday, but only to the party and back." Bella woke up very excited Saturday morning. Her parents had finally agreed to let her fly across Tulip Hollow with her friend Darcy to a birthday party. She could not wait. Smiling and humming, she put on her prettiest party dress. She was ready to get this adventure started. There was not a curl, wing, or ruffle out of place. Her mother told her, "Bella, be very careful. No talking to strangers or stopping. Go straight to the party with Darcy and then come home." "I promise," Bella replied. Then she grabbed her most favorite thing in the whole world, her beautiful orange purse with white pearls all over it. Bella's mommy reached into the pocket of her dress and pulled out a crisp $1 bill and handed it to her. "For good luck," said Mommy. "Thank you," said Bella as she wrapped her arms around her mom and squeezed her tight. Last but not least, her mom put glittery glimmer oil on her wings to help her fly better and to sparkle. Gage ran toward her and tried to grab her glittering wings, but she managed to float out of the way in time. He made a goofy face at her, but she just ignored him. "Be careful, Bella," her daddy said. "I will," Bella replied, and she was so excited she fluttered her glimmering wings so quickly her feet rose above the floor. Bella and Darcy were off. Flying was so much fun, she thought. As they flew along, she looked at all the different shapes and colors of the flowers. She wanted to stop and touch them, but she didn't. She'd made a promise to her mom to go straight to the party and then straight home. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Bella looked up, her eyes growing wider. There was a big old bee, twice as big as she was, looking at her with mischief in his eyes. She swerved to the left, trying to get away from him, but it was too late. That big old bee grabbed her and began to buzz away in the opposite direction of the party. "Bella!" Darcy called after her. She heard Darcy calling, but there was nothing she could do to stop him. At first, Bella kind of panicked, but then she thought, what could she do? She realized her wings were tired and there were wonderful things she could see from being so high up in the sky. Maybe this isn't too bad, Bella thought. After a bit, however, she remembered her friends and the party, and she wanted to go back. "Mr. Bee, please let me down," she asked nicely. The bee didn't answer. He suddenly swooped down and brushed up against the tulip. The tulip dented Bella's wing and rubbed off the glimmer oil. She did not like that one bit, nor did she like the smudge on her dress or the pollen on her sash. She asked the bee again to let her go, but the big old bee would not listen. Bella was going higher and higher and further away from the party. Then, much to her dismay, the big old bee flew her right out of Tulip Hollow and into a world she did not know at all. She squirmed and squirmed, hoping to free herself, but it didn't work. The bee held on tightly. She knew what she had to do. She reached up and pinched that mean old bee right in his behind. "Ouch!" he yelled and dropped her. Bella fell further and further, but her wings couldn't stop her. Luckily, there was a big patch of flowers below her. Plop! She landed on top of a big pink tulip. Bella grunted. She was happy to be free of the bee, but was very annoyed. "I'm a mess, a terrible mess. I can't go to the party looking like this," cried Bella. She reached into her purse for her hairbrush and noticed a pearl was missing from her purse. Gone. The little pearl must have fallen off during the wild bee ride. "My purse is ruined," Bella said as she put her head in her hands and cried. Startled by a noise, she looked up. She couldn't believe her eyes. "Children," she said with amazement. Abella squealed with delight and then quickly put her hand over her mouth. She best be quiet and very careful. Her dad had warned her about children. He said, "Abella, stay far away from children. They do strange things. They like to put bugs in jars and then poke holes in the lids and just stare at them. And you're tiny enough to be mistaken for a bug." She sure didn't want that to happen. Abella was curious about the children and flew to the lowest branch of an apple tree to watch them play. They were running, jumping, laughing, and having a grand time. Maybe they were at a party too, thought Abella. One of the children said, "Let's eat some apples." Then they all ran over to the apple tree and began to pick apples off the low branches and bite into them. "Ouch!" she heard one of them holler. What was that, thought Abella. They sounded excited, and Abella was curious. She flew closer to get a better look. It was a young boy, and he was staring down at the palm of his hand. In the young boy's hand was a tooth. He held it up and grinned, revealing the missing tooth in his smile. Abella noticed that it was bright and white, just like the missing pearl on her purse. Filled with excitement, she knew it would be the perfect replacement. She needed that tooth and would have to think of a plan to get it. Just then a woman walked up and said, "Johnny, it's time to go home now." "Mom, look, I lost my tooth." "Yes, you sure did," the mom said, smiling at him. Johnny put the tooth in his pocket and Abella scowled. She wondered if he was going to go put that tooth in a jar. That would not do. She had to have that tooth. Abella followed them, catching a ride in the mom's big floppy hat. She had to hold on tight, but getting the tooth was worth it. When they made it to the house, Abella quietly flitted behind a picture to hide and wait. She would have to follow Johnny everywhere to keep an eye on that tooth. "Guess what I'm going to do with my tooth, Mom?" Johnny asked, jumping around and pulling it out of his pocket. "What?" his mom asked. "I'm going to make you a tooth necklace for your birthday." Abella rolled her eyes and thought, "Tooth necklace. Well, right now it's time for a nap," his mom said. As they made their way upstairs, Abella followed quietly behind. Johnny's mom gave him a kiss on the forehead and left. Abella hid behind a big lamp and saw Johnny slide the tooth under his pillow for safekeeping. That was certainly going to make things harder for her. So she waited, and soon he was fast asleep. Bella was very quiet as she flew down to the pillow and slid her hand under it, feeling for the pearly white tooth. When she felt it, she smiled and slid it out and put it in her purse. She was so happy. But then she remembered how excited Johnny had been to use the tooth to make his mom a present. He would be sad if she took it. Abella thought, "I know what I'll do." She pulled out the $1 bill from her purse and began to slide it under the pillow in exchange for the tooth. Johnny's eyes popped open and he saw Bella sitting right by his nose. Bella was terrified. She screamed. Johnny screamed too, even louder. Bella flew as fast as she could out the open window. She kept going until she was too tired to go any further. Bella knew that home was far away, but was glad she could see the tulips in the distance. But it would be dark soon, and she couldn't fly at night. She sat down to rest and felt sad thinking about how worried her parents might be. She was even sad to think about her silly brother Gage being upset. Bella, she thought she heard. She looked up and around. Bella. She heard it again. Then she saw him, Mom and Dad and Gage. Here I am, she yelled loudly as she flitted up and down. They all flew to each other and hugged tightly. It's been a scary, crazy day, Daddy. I am so happy you and Mommy found me, Bella said, looking at him, yawning and smiling. It has been a long day, Bella. You can tell us all about it tomorrow. They flew back to the castle, grateful and relieved to all be together. The end. Thank you for sharing this story hour with me. I enjoyed reading the book about the Tooth Fairy, and now you know how the tradition of the Tooth Fairy started. If you enjoyed that story, you might want to read The Adventures of Abella and Her Magic Wand. Abella and Darcy get their magic wands, and boy, do they have some adventures.